the Chapter One podcast, your inside look at the people powering Charlotte's business scene. Real entrepreneurs, real stories right here in the Queen City. We're here today with Matt Doyle of Guild Mortgage. Matt, we're excited to have you on the show. Let's start at Chapter One. How did you make your way here to Charlotte?
Yeah, and first and foremost, honored to be here. So thank you guys for having me. So I am what's classified as a unicorn. I was actually born in the Charlotte area.
Okay, one of the
lived here
few.
my entire life. And it's always funny to hear that because so many people come to visit family or friends and they're like, I want to move to Charlotte. It's great. And they move here, they visit, and they never leave. So the fact that people that are born here rarely stay, it never made sense to me. It's like 2 + 2 is 5 somehow.
I think it's because there were just not a whole lot of people that were here in the first place. And so now the people just keep piling in and it just keeps growing. But you're right. I feel like most of the people I meet, and it's always how we start the show, is when did you get here? And usually it's this whole long story. And we get very few of them that are like, well, I was born and raised here.
Born and raised.
So, okay, let's start with one. What was life like growing up here in Charlotte?
So for anybody that's known me for a while, I will give the disclaimer. I was not in Charlotte. I was in the Charlotte surrounding areas.
It all counts. Yeah.
So where I was raised in Sherrills Ford.
Okay.
Which is kind of like in a pocket right between like Hickory and Mooresville and Denver. So where I grew up, it's so funny because neighbors would drive tractors to school in high school for like Ag Day or Tractor Day. And now 157 people a day moved here in 2024. Like that was the average people that moved here.
That's bonkers.
77 is 4 lanes. There's traffic 24/7. We have, like I just read a report and I don't remember the companies, but like more and more companies are moving their headquarters to Charlotte and more jobs are coming here. And I remember when McDonald's was your only option to eat food in Mooresville. And now there's more shops than you can think of.
It's so wild to have that perspective because like we started off by saying, I don't think a whole lot of people do. A lot of people are just in that crowd that's moving here. I've been here for 8 years and I already feel like I've seen part of the change. So I couldn't imagine like you being born and raised here. So tell me about your professional life. Where did it start? What was your first job and how did you eventually make it, to what you're doing now with Guild?
Yeah, so I graduated Appalachian State, so go App, and I double majored in marketing and economics.
Okay.
Had no idea what I wanted to do, but I was just following what I was passionate in. And I remember I was about to accept a job moving to Detroit, Michigan for a marketing gig. Long story short, did not do that. And my dad connected me with somebody he knew from a local cigar shop that was in the mortgage industry. Met him and he's like, look, you had like maybe an hour-long conversation. He's like, I think you'd be great in the mortgage industry. Come work for me, get started. I'll teach you how to focus on, growing your business and prospecting. I'll teach you sales, all the different things that, kind of just set me up for success in the industry. And so I kind of give the long story short, I was more of like a support back office person for the first 3 to 4 years of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned, what to do really, really well, as well as what to avoid, whether it be growing pains or, things people did or didn't do that negatively impacted the process. So long story, started back in like 2020 in the mortgage industry. So I've been a loan officer for 6 years at the time of this recording, and I've been amongst the top 1% of the loan officers in the nation for the last 2.
Wow.
So it's long story, just kind of fell into it and have loved every day of it since.
So at what point did you start Guild? Is this your company or?
I would love to take credit for that. No, Guild is one of the largest mortgage companies in the nation.
Okay.
We've been around since like 1960. We're just headquartered out west in California.
Okay. So, but I imagine it still operates in similar fashion to being like an entrepreneur in the sense that you're kind of doing some of your own marketing and working on growing it yourself. Is that true?
Correct. So with most mortgage companies, you're pretty much hired, regardless if it's 1099 or W-2,
Mm-hmm.
you're 100% commission.
Wow.
So, to make it simple, if you don't kill, you don't eat. So there's all these different scenarios of, is it going to be better for me to focus 110% of my time in video marketing, Instagram marketing, face-to-face, networking events? Everybody just kind of has a different way to cook the meal, if you will. And luckily, I've found something that works for me, and It's provided me a lot of opportunity to help a lot of people in buying a house or refinancing to save their monthly payment.
So what has that marketing looked like for you? I guess, and if it's changed, start me from, when you first started getting into it, how did you find clients? How did you meet people?
It was a lot of cold calling when I
Really?
got started.
Oh,
Yeah.
brutal.
But it was a weird time in the mortgage industry, especially to get started because it was 2020.
Yeah.
Interest rates were never lower, 2.9. Everybody and their friends were wanting to buy a house ASAP. And the loan officers that had been in the industry for 5, 10, 20 years had this big book of business of loans that they had closed where those clients were calling them saying, refinance my mortgage, refinance my mortgage, refinance my mortgage. And because of that, they didn't, I'm going to choose my words carefully here, they focused on the low-hanging fruit of that quick refinance versus recognizing the seeds that they had planted to grow the tree in the first place, which is your business partners. So while those, I'm going to say seasoned loan officers were focused on the low-hanging fruit, I was the one calling the business partners, real estate agents, financial advisors, attorneys, CPAs, you name it. I'm like, hey, I'm a loan officer. I'm newer.
Yeah.
But I'll work my ass off to get whatever deal across the finish line. And, I was working, if not 100 hours a week, probably close to it.
Goodness.
Think about like you're jumping in the deep end, not knowing how to swim, and everybody's like, figure it out. So I learned a lot very quickly, and very blessed to be sitting here today.
Awesome. So what are some of the bigger things? Because you've been a loan officer for a little while now. What are some of the bigger pieces of information that you've learned that you feel like most people don't know?
So to answer that question, are you talking about like loan officers don't know or clients don't know, like buyers?
Let's go with both. You can answer them both.
So the thing for buyers, I'm going to choose my words carefully here again.
I'm giving you the hard ones.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I think buyers don't always understand is while it's super exciting to be buying a house and like we want to help, there's not always an update on a day-to-day basis. So like perfect example, a client's under contract right now. We're closing in 3 months and he's calling me, Matt, what's the update?
Dude, we got 3 months.
We got 3 months. Like the house isn't even built yet. Like we haven't done, a lot of the work needed to get to the closing table.
Takes time.
It takes time.
Yeah.
But on that same note, another client went under contract this weekend. We close in 2 weeks. So there's going to be some scenarios where it is super quick. And if we say, hey, we need this document, you do need to jump. There's other times where you're fine to go on a week vacation. Just get us the stuff when you get back. It's all good. So the answer for the buyer is like every scenario is different.
Yeah.
And the answer for the loan officers is to actually be transparent with how the job works, how the industry operates, what the rates are and what they mean. More times than not, loan officers are, they're just saying like, I'm going to say questionable antics to try to steer a buyer or steer a partner to work with them. But if you talk to somebody that actually understands how this operates, you're like, that's predatory. Like that's not being truthful. That's not being client focused. And that's arguably the number one thing that I've done in my business to separate myself from 99% of other loan officers is I am upfront. I do explain this process because this stuff was never taught in school. Like nobody took a class in high school of how to buy a house.
Right.
So regardless if you're first time or you're buying your 5th house, you probably don't know as much as you think you do from a ChatGPT search or Google inquiry. Talk with somebody that actually explains the process because like one thing is buyers always ask, what's the lowest rate? That's the dumbest question people can ask because it just means you're waving a white flag saying, I don't know what I'm doing. The lowest rate doesn't always mean it's the best deal.
So for you, and you mentioned it for a second, as far as something that makes you kind of stand out from other people in the loan officer world, is that difficult? Is it difficult to, amongst a whole bunch of mortgage people, to be like unique and to have certain elements? Like if I was to ask you, what's a unique part about what you bring to the table that other loan officers don't, what would you say?
I don't just tell the buyer what to do. I view it more like we're in a road trip together. Like regardless if you're in, we'll say California, wanting to buy a house in New York, or
Mhm.
if you're in Charlotte wanting to buy a house in Huntersville, there's a journey we're going on.
Yeah.
There's a million and one different ways to get to that final destination, but it depends on how you want to get there is going to dictate the best price or the best down payment or the best loan program.
Mm.
So many mortgage companies or loan officers just offer the buyer one deal. Like, hey, you need to do this, and this is your rate, and this is your closing cost. Best of luck. We have access to well over 800 different loan programs.
Mm.
So you might be saving up for that 20% down payment, but you might qualify for a 5%. Difference in the monthly payment on a 15% down payment might be, obviously it's going to differ between the loan
Sure.
amount, but let's say it's $500.
Mm.
All right, well, if you're buying a house, I don't advise spending all the money you have in savings and then financing a sofa for 20% interest. Go about it intelligently. And that's kind of what I do different is I educate people on the process.
Mm. So what about the whole process, I guess, that you've been through, do you love the most? Like, what do you love most about what you get to do now?
Truthfully, what I love the most is regardless if it's like after a pre-approval consultation or closing day where clients are like, I could not have imagined doing this without you.
Mm.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The money's great, but we get paid based off, how many deals we close.
Sure.
The joy I seek is actually having people tell me, thank you.
Mm.
Like, I appreciate it. I'm so glad I reached out to you or you were able to help or whatever scenarios like that. That's what I'm chasing.
Yeah.
It's just that feeling of, appreciation. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. I think I feel like we all start like what you said, like the money side, where it's just like, oh, I'm trying to make a living, so I'm doing this thing. And you discover that you're like, oh, I'm so passionate about certain elements of this that I didn't realize were going to be there. Like I'm actually, what I do matters in some way that I didn't see in the first place.
Well, it's funny because the first time I bought a house, I would say I was in the industry, but I wasn't a loan officer. And I didn't know nearly as much as I do now then.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember sitting at the closing table and my heart was racing. I thought I was having like a panic attack because I'm signing all these documents, not knowing what the hell I'm
It's
signing.
stressful, man.
And somebody's like, sign that document and you're officially $350,000 in debt. I'm like, am I making a smart, like nobody's over my shoulder making sure I'm making the right decision here. And I remember leaving that closing table not feeling excited. I was like, I don't know if I'm making the right decision. Did I get a good interest rate? Did I choose the right loan officer or mortgage company to partner with? Like, and this isn't a dig on the loan officer that helped me in that scenario.
Sure.
It was just, as a buyer, I was like, what the hell am I doing?
Mm.
So I remember that feeling every single time I talk to somebody. I'm like, look, I want to make sure that regardless if you close with me or not, you at least don't have that feeling at closing. I want to make sure you understand what you're doing because that feeling sucked.
Yeah. Is there something unique about? I mean, you've only lived here in Charlotte, but being a loan officer here in Charlotte, I'm sure you have a more maybe detailed view of the land as far as like things that are changing and prices of things. How have you seen Charlotte change over the years, and what are some elements about Charlotte that you really like?
So I will say that like downtown Charlotte has changed so much. With the Carolina Panthers and Charlotte FC and all the sporting events, and now we're getting so many restaurants that are phenomenal food. It's not just the same, basic burger with ketchup and lettuce. There's just so much culture in Charlotte, and it really is a mixing pot because we have so many people moving here from across the nation or across the world that we're just getting introduced to so many things that weren't around, 20, 30 years ago. So it's just the opportunity to explore and learn so much more from the people that are living here now. That's been the biggest change since I've been born.
So if you were to give yourself advice, a younger you, or just somebody that's watching this that's early in the stages of entrepreneurship or just thinking about taking a dive into kind of growing something in the similar ways that you've grown what you've been doing, what's some advice that you would give that person?
So there's two pieces of advice, and unfortunately, it's not a Matt Doyle original. But
We accept those. That's fine.
yeah, so I would say the first one, and I don't remember the boxer that came with this. It's a movie with Miles Teller,
Mhm.
but he was asked at the end of the movie, it's like, what's the best advice? And it goes, it's not that simple.
Mm.
And, you know, his scenario is very different. If you guys don't know the movie, watch the movie. But being a successful loan officer, people will tell you it's not that easy. It really is. You just have to do right by other people. That's the main thing. Don't try to, you know, invest $1,000,001. You don't need to know 1,000 people before you get started. And you don't need to sell yourself short. Just bet on yourself, do the hard work, and understand that tomorrow's going to be better than today.
Yeah.
And the second bit of advice is kind of the opposite. No one's coming to save you. So if you get started in the mortgage industry and it's 100% commission, or the real estate industry and it's
That's right.
100% commission, you're not going to make a lot of money sitting at home not working.
Yeah.
Like, this is a dog eat dog world. It's kill if you want to eat. So bet on yourself and put in the work, because nobody's going to come give you nobody's going to call you and say, I'm your rich uncle, I'm going to give you $1,000,000. You have to work for it.
Those rich uncles, where are they,
I know.
man? Matt, if somebody was watching and wanted to get in contact with you, how could they find you?
Yeah, so the easiest way is probably Instagram, Matt Doyle Mortgage. Very simple. And that's the same website to access my online application. Facebook, Matt Doyle Mortgage, or you can call me or text me on my direct cell, 704-881-3308.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thank you so much for being on the show. This was Matt Doyle with Guild Mortgage, and we are the Chapter 1 podcast.